the Author, a show about inspiring stories and conversations by creatives and all forms of art, music, movies, visual art, authors, creative writing, poetry, dance, culinary art, among others. Brought to you by the multi-award-winning author, life coach, and poet, Richard Mwebesa.
Welcome back to Ask the Author podcast. It's been quite a bit. Thank you so much for all the feedback, the comments, and tuning in to our channel and supporting us and giving us counsel and giving us ideas to move to bring on set. I appreciate you. I'm your host, Richard Mwebesa, the multi-award-winning author, life coach, and poet. I always forget this, but I have to mention this as well. I'm a pastor, a priest of God. Yes, born again Christian, washed by the blood, filled by the Holy Spirit. On set today, I have a guest who has a very interesting story, very powerful, profound story. Her name is Rebecca K.Makyeli. She is a coach, an author. She is also a professional DJ. She said former professional DJ, probably now a CJ or Christian jockey. She is a copywriter, and she is also a counselor, I would say. A woman that wears many hats and with a very profound story that she'll be sharing with us today. Welcome on set, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Pastor Richard.
Yes. Good to have you. It's extremely humbled. Great honor for you to grace us and, of course, for our audience to listen to your story. And we hope it will impact and bless many.
Amen.
Yes. So tell us, who is Rebecca K.Makyeli?
You did justice in the introduction. I would describe Rebecca as, well, Rebecca is an author. I'm a lived experience speaker. I am a minister of the word. I am a certified sobriety coach. So I assist individuals who are dealing with addiction to get the help that they need. As you mentioned, I'm a former DJ. I've always had an interest
Professional
in
DJ.
Professional DJ. I was a reggae and dancehall DJ. My DJ name was Mad Michelle. But I've always had an interest in music. But I feel like the Lord graced me to carry that interest in a different form. So I've had the opportunity to work in media, broadcast media as a radio personality. And I still am in media, in entertainment as well, organizing concerts, talent management, and etc. etc.
You didn't mention you're also an actress.
Yes, I am
an actor or actress. Hey.
Yes, I'm an actress.
What a CV.
Yeah.
Copywriter. So getting into your story.
Yes.
I know you've authored a book called Woman, Fire, Race. About your, I think it's a mix. Is it a mix of an autobiography?
It actually is.
Purely an autobiography.
Yes.
About your story, life story, and
yes.
who you are and where the Lord picked you from until now. So let's get right in. How does your story unfold? How does Woman, Fire, Grace unfold? And wow.
So the story of Woman, Fire, Grace began in Entebbe in 1991, 13th of March. That was the day I was born. And I grew up in a family of, I have 5 siblings, 3 girls and 3 boys. 1 is deceased. We grew up I had 4 siblings who my father and my mother met. Each had a son and a daughter. Then when they met, they had me and the brother that I followed. So I'm the last born. And so, God graced us we never lacked, really, I'll say. My father is a retired pilot. My mother was an entrepreneur. And so we had the grace to go to the best schools, to have, we had the best toys. We went to the best places. And, I know God was very intentional with that because there was a side to life that he really wanted me to see. And so, I grew up, it was a really normal family. The first 4 siblings were way older than me. There's about a 14-year age gap between us. So they grew up, they went abroad. So it was me and my brother who I follow. There's a 4-year age difference between us. So it was just us 2 in the house. So we grew up with mom and dad. life went on. And as I grew older, I started to notice that, that there was an issue with mom. You didn't really know what kind of version you got of her when she came out of the house in the morning. And I think I noticed this when I was about 8 years old. And so one morning, I have friends of mine who are still friends now, childhood friends, and we used to alternate each other's homes, where I would sleep over at Rachel's house or sleep over at Naka's house. So we would alternate. And it was this time it was their turn to sleep over at our house, and mom was supposed to take us swimming Sunday morning. And so we woke up Sunday morning, we made breakfast. We were 8, 9 years old. We were excited to go swimming. So it clocked 9, 10, mom wasn't coming out of the room. So I went to knock on the door, and she opened the door and she looked maniacal, to be honest, and I told her, Mom, you're supposed to take us swimming. And so she grabbed the keys. She didn't even change. She was in a nightgown. She had a bonnet. The ladies will know what I'm talking about. And then she just got in the car. It was a big car. It was an intercooler turbo. And she put us in the car and she drove us swimming. So we used to live in Muyenga, and so we used to go swimming at Hotel International. It's about a 5-minute drive if you know the distance. Yeah. And so just as we turned the turn of St. Barnabas Road, mom passed out at the wheel. And to be honest, something nudged me. At this point, I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit, but I feel like I've always had that intuition to catch the attention of something before something drastic happens. And so I looked over, and mom had slumped over the wheel. And so my little arms reached out for the driver's, the steering wheel, and the car was going off the road. My friends were in the back. Yes, my friends were in the back screaming, and I think she passed out for about 10 seconds. So just as the car was about to, swerve and go right off the road into somebody else's gate or somebody else's fence, I think, she got up, and that's when she, regained control of the car. But then she hit me because she's like, why are you trying to drive? What's wrong with you? She had no recollection whatsoever what had happened. And so, it really was a very awkward drive to Hotel International. It was quiet. She bought us chips, chicken, everything was forgotten. Soda, we swam. Never spoke about it ever again. But that was just the beginning of many different instances. I was in primary school. I was a day scholar. She would forget to pick me up from school. So I would sit at school. Everybody's been picked up. I'd be there till 8 on some days. On other days, she would pick me up from school, and those were the days of UEB. The load shedding was intense. It was Promax. And she used to love,
Promax.
No, UEB is unforgettable.
Way back.
Yes, so it became a very common practice for me to do my homework in bars because, yes, it was a common practice Monday to Friday, because if there was a lot of load shedding, mom would always want to watch her Telemundos. So...
Were there Telemundos at the time?
What? The Rich Also Cry, Maria de Los Angeles. There were so many.
Those ones, Salvador.
Yeah, Salvador came later. That's a new...
There was one which had Barbarita. Those were later.
Those came later after Maria de Los Angeles, The Rich Also Cry.
Okay.
Those ones, yes. So she used to love them so much. And so during the time of load shedding, when you drove from my primary school and you got to that intersection of Kabalagala, this one goes to Muyenga, this one goes to... You could tell whether there was electricity at home or not. So if there was no electricity, she would just swerve. And I remember the choice bar was Alsbar, and so I would sit there, do my homework. She would buy me chicken and soda the whole night. So she would watch her series, but of course she's getting drunk at the same time. And the more you get drunk, the more you want to be in the bar. So I would be in the bar till like 11 midnight some days. And then my school was very strict, so we'd have to be at school by 6, start assembly by 7. So it really became common practice, really. And over time, I really started to understand that there truly was something wrong with mom. But being a child, I didn't know the severity of it. My brother and I were in the same primary school. He did his P7 and he went to senior 1. So he went to boarding school, and now I was alone at home with mom. Dad was a pilot. He was working with an airline, a foreign airline. So it was just me and mom in the house with the maid. And so I had the opportunity to see her deterioration and how alcohol really affected her right to her last moments. And so there was a great resentment that grew between me and my mom, because I just didn't understand, why would a grown woman live like this? Why would you forget to pick your children from school? Why would you throw bottles. Why would you send me to go to the shop to buy? I was going to, at this point, mom was sending me to the shop to buy tumizinga. She was drinking tumizinga a day. So I was buying her tumizinga a day.
For our international audience, tumizinga are the big.
The 750
750 and one.
750.
Or they're all
750, yes.
ml.
750, yes.
Okay.
And so, at this point, I really just was done with all the drama that was happening. One night, I think I was in P7, I was preparing for my PLE. And she had an episode, I call them episodes, where one night we were sleeping and it was about 2 a.m. and she started screaming from her room and I'm wondering what's happening. And so I go and I open the door and she's seated up in the bed and she's screaming, saying the bear wants to eat me, the bear wants to eat me. So the alcohol had affected her to the point of she was now having hallucinations at this point. And I said, there's no bear. So in that point, I didn't even feel the need to ask, what's happening. I was very irritated. I felt like I had had it.
How old were you then?
I was in P7. I was 11. Yes, I was 11. And so, at this point, I just couldn't wait to do my PLE and go off to boarding school. And I remember when I went to S1, I was the happiest person in the world, And so this is now me entering my adolescence phase, I now know what I want to do, my ambitions, my interest in sports are growing. I was a very ambitious young girl. I wanted to be a lawyer. I loved newspapers. I loved reading and writing as well. That's something that my father instilled in me from a young age. And so I've always excelled in English in all forms, literature, comprehension, grammar, spelling, in whatever form. And so life went on. I picked my interest in sports. I tried every sport, football, hockey, cricket, every kind of sport. But I really found a love for cricket. And so I was able to sign up for the school team. I joined the school team. And so in senior 3, I was chosen by the school and the British Council to represent the country and the school at a conference in Zambia by the British Council. It was called Kick Polio Out of Africa, something around those lines. And so that was the day, our sports teacher, the cricket head, came to class and she picked me up. And she told me, oh, Rebecca, do you have a passport? I said, yes. She said, okay, go to dorm, pack your things. Your mother is coming to pick you up. And I said, oh, okay, what's happening? She said, you're going to Zambia, you're going to represent the country. And I was so excited. So I went to dorm, packed my things, and my mother did come to pick me up. She was tipsy beyond, I can't even put it to words. It was about 2 p.m. and she was tipsy out of her mind. She stepped out of the car, she was shouting, incoherent,
What, is that what they call stoned?
No, she wasn't stoned. Stoned is particularly hinged towards marijuana. Yeah. Okay. She was just drunk. That's it. Okay. Yeah. For her, it was alcohol. That's it. So she wasn't stoned. No, she was drunk. And whenever she drank, she got very loud. My mother was an extrovert. She was, I can say she was a socialite. All the shows, if you ever watched Ebony's plays back in the day, I watched every Ebony's play back in the day. In alphabetical order, would be in VIP in the front. I was at Shalamana's concert, VIP in the front. At night, I was 6 years old with my teddy bear in the front till like 2 a.m. I went to the Pete Andre show at Hotel International, organized by Shanks BVD. I think this was 97 or 96. I was there at that show. So basically, this was the kind of lifestyle that I was used to, moving around. And she used to carry me around like a handbag. Whenever she had a party, she would carry me around, right from childhood. And so moving forward, back to this point, we went home and I really was not impressed with the way that she had showed up. I'm now a teenager. I have, opinions, attitudes, and all I wanted was to just get on that plane and go. And so when we got home, back in the day, we had the landlines and those, what are they called? The yellow pages. What are those?
Yeah.
Those
the directories or phone directories.
Yes. Yeah. So while I was packing my things and getting ready, I could hear her in the bedroom. I knew she had poured her waraji and she had opened the directory and she was calling every number that she could reach. And I could hear her and she was saying, do you know my daughter is flying to Zambia? My daughter's flying to Zambia. Yeah. But she's used to these things. Zambia. Then she would hang up, call someone else. Hello, how are you? Do you know Rebecca's flying to Zambia? She spent about 1.5 hours doing that. And in my mind, I was just saying, Rebecca, don't worry. We're going to Zambia. We're going to have a good time. At this time I was 14 years old. And so the flight was at 5 a.m. So we had to leave at midnight. So all that was going through my mind is, I'm not getting in the car if this woman is drunk. So as it's coming to midnight, she was on the phone with somebody, and I just heard a huge thud coming from her room. And I was so used to the acoustics of the house that I could tell what item, what room like this was, but it was such a foreign sound. I said,
unfamiliar.
It was so unfamiliar. And immediately I knew, I said, this woman has fallen down. So I ran to her bedroom, and indeed she had fallen over from the bed, and her alcohol had spilled, and the phone was, the phone was off the hook, so she had passed out for like some seconds. So there I was trying to wake her up, like, mom, wake up, is everything okay?
Was that the same night she was meant to drive you to
Yes, it was just a few minutes when she was supposed to leave the house. And so I shook her. And so the same thing that happened when she was on the wheel so many years before had happened again. And I said, Mom, wake up. And so she woke up about 10 seconds later. So she wakes up, she has no recollection of what happened. She looks around. I think she thought I had spilled her alcohol or something. So she hit me across the face. And she said, what's wrong with you? Are you the one who bought that alcohol and this and that? So at this point, as a child, first of all, my mother was a disciplinarian. So the whoopings we got were buy one, get one free. At whatever point,
buy one get one free.
You didn't know what point you were getting a whooping. If she even just looked in your direction and she just felt like whooping you, something was flying your way. You understand? So that was the kind of. So I just kept it in and said, Rebecca, we're going to Zambia. Have a good time. So I said, I'm not getting in that car if this woman is driving. And indeed, she also had the realization that she was quite drunk. So she called my uncle, her brother, and he came all the way from Konge. He came and picked us up, and he drove us to the airport. All the way to the airport, she got another bottle, drunk, singing on the radio, And we got to the airport, and I remember I was just so irritated. And I just got out of the car, I got my suitcase, and I just walked towards the departures point. So there's a point where the people who are traveling cannot cross. And so that's when I walked towards, departures. And I could hear her behind, and she's screaming loud. You don't even want to say bye to me? What, just in loud K.Makyeli fashion. Like, it was just her unique, it was just her, She was like, you don't want to say bye to me? Anyway, when you go, get me something nice. My mother was someone who had a very exquisite taste in things, be it fashion, be it cutlery. She had class.
Swag.
That's one thing anyone can tell you. She had exquisite cutlery. She had everything about her was just exquisite. That's the only word I can use to define her. So she told me, get me something nice when you go. I didn't look behind. I didn't acknowledge her. I just got departures and I left. So I'm inside. I'm excited. I met my friend who I'm going to Zambia with. And so, we went to Zambia. Had a good time. I met the president of Zambia at the time, the late Levi Mwanawasa. It was incredible. I was on BBC. What? It was incredible. There's a video, if you actually Google K.Makyeli, British Council, I think that clip is still there from 2015, still there. So, it was a great time. I met so many other cricketers from Nigeria, from Zimbabwe, from South Africa. It was a great time. I remember the time when the last night, when we were supposed to, it was the last night they made a banquet for all the delegates across Africa. And I remember I felt very eerily ill at about 8 p.m. at the dinner table. And I said, guys, I can't. First of all, Zambia is a very interesting place with a very interesting cuisine. I don't like insects. For them, they have caterpillars as delicacy. They are everywhere. You see how we have been sending it?
Yeah.
They have caterpillars everywhere. They are hung on the streets. They are hung everywhere. I was just walking like
You're freezing.
I said, this can't be. I said, why?
Your nightmares.
I just said, why? I said, for what purpose? When you go for like a meeting, like how you go for meetings and they serve.
Now, all due respect to Zambians.
Please. Yes, this is for comic relief, by the way.
Here in Uganda, we fear caterpillars.
Yes.
When people see caterpillars, they scatter.
Right. So please, this is for comic relief only. Yeah. And so, like how they offer you a bowl of groundnuts when you go to somewhere, they offer you a bowl of dried caterpillars. I said, let's buy in this country.
But have you tested them before?
No. Heaven is the goal, Pastor Richard.
You could not have.
Heaven is the goal. God is not going to ask me whether I know what caterpillars.
No, adventure.
But I'm a person who's not. I'm not curious. Not with cuisine, not with anything. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I felt very eerily ill, and I had to leave the dinner table. They had made us a banquet that had wild meat. There was game. I saw an alligator that side. I saw snake meat. I said, you know what? I said, you know what? Maybe I'm sick for a reason. I said, let me just go. I said, because it was a 4-star hotel.
Your DNA and Ugandan.
Let me tell you, I was, when I tell you I'm not curious, when I tell you I'm not curious, I want to see an alligator that side. Let it stay there. You understand?
I hear you.
You know, so I felt very eerily ill. I just was not feeling well. I got a fever, very insane fever. And so I told the team and I retreated to my room and the fever just got more intense. So it's about 9 p.m. I filled up, I was shivering, you know, while sweating at the same time. So I filled up the tub and I just, with warm water, and I just sat in it for a while, you know. And so after that, I just, you know, went to bed.
What, that was after the cricket
this was at the last.
Towards the last.
It was the last.
It
was the last night.
The night.
We were leaving in the morning back to Uganda, you know. And on the way to on the way to Zambia, Dad told me to meet him in Nairobi, on the stopover in Nairobi, so that he could hand me the camera.
So it was a connection flight?
Yes, definitely. So it was connecting. It was Nairobi, then Lilongwe, Malawi, and then Lusaka in Zambia. And so he told me to meet him. So on the connection flight, when I stopped over in Nairobi, true to his word, he was standing there with the camera. And so I met him, he gave me the camera, told me, have fun, and said, when you're coming back, come to this desk, meet me here, the camera. So, you know, the night passed, I woke up in the morning, I felt even worse. I left Uganda on Friday morning. This was now Tuesday. I was in Zambia for 5 days. And so I felt so terrible, you know, and, you know, they put me on the flight.
Wouldn't you get a nurse or doctor?
No, I thought it would, but you see, because we had to leave the hotel at 8 in the morning, so that we could make it in time for our flight back. We had traveled with quite a number of people. We had the Uganda Cricket Federation chairman with us, Aligawesa, who was with us, you know, and quite a number of officials. So I really didn't want it to become an issue. I said, if really I'm sick, then we'll deal with it in Uganda.
When you come.
And I just got on the flight and I was sweating. I was seated next to Aligawesa. He called the waitress and he said, get her, like, they brought me fansida. I was sweating while shivering. It was so terrible. And so we landed in Uganda. We stopped in Nairobi first. So I took the camera to the desk and, you know, I got to the desk and my father wasn't there. And I'm looking and I'm saying, my God, if I don't do this man's camera, he's going to kill me. So I kept asking people, where's Captain Makyeli? Where's Captain Makyeli? They said, Captain Makyeli, but I think they knew, but no one wanted to, you know, let me know. So I said, you know what, it's okay, he'll get it when he gets it. So I got into the flight back to Uganda. When we got to Uganda, I got to the arrivals lounge and my 2 aunts were there. And, you know, these were aunts I was fond of. These are aunts who used to pick me up from school when mom was unable to, you know. So I get to the arrivals lounge and my 2 aunts are there. So in my mind, I just said, you know what, mom is drunk. It's okay. So they put me in the car, we conversed the whole way. And remember, this was before expressway. So that distance is like a 90-minute drive back to Kampala. So they asked me questions. They said, are you okay? You're sick? Okay, let's first go home. We'll prepare for you something. They will take you to the hospital. They gave me conversation. How is Zambia like Uganda? Conversation. And so when we got to about Kabalagala, maybe I can say this is about 500 meters from our home, that's when the aunt who was seated with me in the back turned to me and said, Rebecca, I need you to be strong. Mom passed away on Saturday.
What?
And I said, well, what do you mean? Mom dropped me at the airport on Friday. He said, yes, we need you to be strong. Mom passed away on Saturday. And in that moment, as she's telling me these words, my eyes are now adjusting to the sight in front of me, which is the gate at home. We now arrived at the gate. We approached the gate, and now I'm seeing so many cars outside the gate. I was seeing tents. I could see the King's College Budo bus. And so in my mind, I'm saying, she passed away Saturday. It means I'm the last to know. The whole world knows. And when I got there, like, I just burst into tears. It didn't make sense. It did not register until I got to the gate. And so I started to remember going to the airport and not acknowledging her when she was saying, get me something nice, you know. And so I just began to cry. And that's when I saw my father and my brother. They came to get me from the car. And so, I mean, that they were waiting for me so that they could bury her. So Wednesday was the set date for burial. So I arrived Tuesday afternoon. We buried Wednesday. And yeah, life went on. Like, I had to return back to school. So, I mean, I went back to school, but life really just was not the same. You know, she used to bring life to the house. The house was quiet. My brother is exactly like his father. He's into, you know, aeroplanes and computers. To get him out of his room is a difficult thing. He speaks when spoken to. I, on the other hand, am the extrovert. So I would be the one who's on TV watching music, wanting to know, wanting to go out, this and that. So it just became different, you know, going back to school. Life really changed. I won't say much of a wanton. I just became a bit rebellious, you know. Anything to do with academics, anything to do with showing up for responsibilities, I just didn't want to, you know. And this had a very, very huge impact because they were always now calling dad to school. Your daughter has done this. Your daughter has done this. Your daughter has done this. Not that I was ever expelled or suspended, but there was just that element of rebellion that came in. So eventually I did my Form 4 and went to Form 4 back. And one thing I always commend my father for is he created an environment for us at home where we did not desire to be outside. I hear people telling us stories of, you guys, I jumped from home. In my head, I'm like, how, why? You understand? So my father provided everything we needed. We had computers, we had TVs, we had television, we had DSTV, we had a radio, we had a system. There was nothing that we desired outside.
Run out for.
Right.
Okay.
So in my senior 4 back, I spent my time on watching TV, really, as a normal teenager. Watching TV, who's trending, trending songs, trending music videos, movies, you understand, pop culture, you know, and also reading, a lot of reading as well. And I remember a friend of mine called me one night in my senior 4 back. That was the time when a certain telecom had introduced that offer. I don't know, 0.001 shillings per second. So you have teenagers talking on phone from like 9 p.m. up to 5. And you wonder what the 15-year-olds talk about all the time. Yeah. And a friend of mine called me up. He was a very good friend of mine from high school. Calls me up one day and he says, hey, by the way, he called me at 11 p.m. I was watching a movie. And he says, hey, by the way, today I have my brothers come and we go to Club Silk. Oh my gosh. Growing up, my mom used to like buy this tabloid, which I won't mention, everyone knows, in Uganda. So it would have ladies of the night, what happened at certain club here, this and this and that. So for me, that kind of culture was very heathen. You understand? So I told my friends, like, why are you taking me to such a place? Why are you even taking me at this time of the night? Like, you heathen, why are you talking to me about such things? But he talked to me, like, you know, he convinced me. He said, don't worry, I have my brothers come, I want to bring you back home as soon as possible. You understand?
How old were you then?
Senior, I was 15. Yeah, so I trusted him. He was my friend. I didn't know what they wore to clubs. I used to see those things in tabloids where the women haven't decided whether they're dressed or they're not dressed. So I wore my jeans and my top with my glasses and my big hair. You know, Buddha used to allow us to have hair, so I had my big afro like this. So he picked me up and we drove. We went. It wasn't too far from my place, industrial area and Muyanga. So we drove and we reached, and the sight just horrified me. You know, just a sea of dressed and undressed women. You know, the men are just, it was just insane. So my friend tells me, don't worry, we're going to go. So we went to, am I allowed to say names of establishments? But I knew.
Oh, really?
Okay, so we entered a very popular discotheque at the time, you know, and it was just insane to see how we were allowed in without even having our ages verified. Do you understand? And so we entered. To my horror and shock, when I entered, I found people of my age from other schools that I knew. So in my mind, I'm like, people are actually living this life. They were smoking, they were throwing back shots and all of this. I was terrified. First of all, this establishment, those who know, had upstairs and downstairs. So now as we were downstairs, when you go downstairs is dark, you know? So the only light was coming from a certain fridge. So I told my friend, I'm going to sit at the counter. I'm not mingling with all of this chaos. The men are looking at you like you're some kind of prey. You know, the women are looking at you like have you come to also steal my money? Because everyone, I think they were all there to maybe kwaza some men or something. I told him, boss, I'm at the counter. Do you see where that light is? Exactly where the light is, that's where I'm going to sit. And that's why I sat the entire time. I remember the waitress knew his name. I was just so shocked. Like, this was just a whole entire experience to me. And so the waitress knew his name. They talked, they chatted, and then he told her, give her whatever she wants. I'll pay and whatever. So she came and she asked me, what would you like to drink? I'll be very honest, I asked for a certain type of juice. And she laughed and she called my friend back and said, this one you brought for us. Mm-hmm. And I remember at that time, my friend came and told me, no, all they have is this and this and this, and he was showing me the different kinds of alcohol. Of course, I knew the different types of alcohol because Mom used to drink. She was particularly a gin kind of person. Beers were I think she got to a point of her drinking where beers were not doing it for her, because there's a point in her life where we just stopped seeing beer at home only when.
But you didn't mention what was the cause of your mom's death, passing?
She died of alcohol-induced liver cirrhosis. That was the major cause. However, her other organs were affected as well. Yes, wow. But that was basically what happened. What I was told is that she was happy in the house on Saturday, and she told the housemaid in Luganda, she said, she said, I'm not feeling very well, so which is aloe vera. And she used to like sleeping down in the afternoon. So she went to her room and she lay down and she never woke up. And it's not like she was sick or anything. She was jolly, she was around the house, she was cooking and all of this. So she's, from what the post-mortem report says, she suffered massive organ failure.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, we get to the club and ordering the drink.
You ordered your juice.
Yes.
Juice.
I said juice, but the woman laughed because they didn't have juice. So my friend is telling me about all these drinks that are there, but they were really reminding me of Mom. And I said, I don't want to drink those things. So he pointed at this fridge that's emanating light. Now, there's a certain drink, which I won't mention, but by description, people will know. Around 2005, 2006, they had a certain RTD drink. I'm sorry for using technical terms,
but
RTD? RTD it's a word used by the brewery for certain types of drinks that are of a certain quantity and type. They're usually ciders, or I worked at the brewery for some time as PR and okay. So, but they had an RTD drink that they released at that time, and at that time they released the first flavor, which was red. So those who know, yes. So by nature of what the drink looked like, one of their marketing strategies was the fridges, so that when those drinks are in the fridge, the light kind of like reflects and refracts and they look,
makes them look.
Yes. So I looked
attractive,
at it. Thank you. So I'm a sweet tooth. So when I looked at it, I said, whatever that is, it looks nice, it looks like soda, it looked diplomatic, right? To be honest. No, do you know why I said that? No, Pastor, don't laugh. Do you know why I said that? Pastor, do you know why I said that? It looked diplomatic, and do you know why I say this?
So there's some are diplomatic, some are local, some are...
Pastor, listen.
I'm hearing.
No, Pastor, back in the day, you see these beer bottles that we see today? Remember back in the day, they were not slim like that. They were like this.
They were big.
These bottles were not attractive. Do you understand? They're not attractive. So when I looked at this small one, so you understand what I mean when I say it was diplomatic?
I hear that.
Yes. So and I like using that term, it looked diplomatic. It looked like something you could be seen drinking. You wanted me to be a young girl and I'm holding
I hear
you. You know? So
your brand, your swag.
So I got, so they gave me some and there was an offer on them. Then it was like buy 3 or for how much? So they literally kept them coming. And I'm a sweet tooth. It was very, very sweet and tasty. Unfortunately, I did not know what intoxication felt like. So I didn't know when I was getting drunk. As a lover of music, all I know is that the music was just starting to sound better. I think I drank, to be honest, I think I drank about 9 or 10 of those bottles in about 2 hours. Like just throwing them back. Yeah, and remember, they're small. They're not big. They're literally like 300 ml. They're not big, you understand? And so I was just taking them back. They were sweet. Next thing I know, the right shoulder is moving, the left leg is moving. Next thing I knew, I was off the stool. Then I'm in this corner, the other corner. All I know is my friend came running for me in the crowd. He grabbed me and said, Rebecca, we're going home. He told me, I told him, I'm not going home. I want to stay here. But anyway, he bundled me up, put me in the car.
What time is that?
And took me home. I don't know what time I got home. I don't remember. All I know is I reached home. I woke up the next day. My head was pounding. My tongue was dry. I felt terrible. My clothes were still on. I literally fell on the bed, facing up in my clothes. My glasses were on. I was holding the handbag off the bed like this. My shoes were on. I opened my eyes. It was about midday. in this terrible state that I felt, as soon as I opened my eyes, I looked for my phone and I called my friend. And the first thing I asked him is, where are we today? That was That next morning, when I woke up, the first thing I asked him is, where are we today? The previous night was a Friday, so now it's Saturday. He asked me I asked him, where are we today?
So what was drawing you that quick? On your first incident,
I felt
within 48 hours,
I
24
loved
hours.
the feeling. I loved the feeling that I had when I was drunk. I loved the feeling. I hated the headache that I was having in the moment, but I loved the feeling I experienced when I was drunk. And so I called. I think it was just that euphoric plus that risk of being a teenager and seeing other teenagers out. I was like, no, like this has to be the life, And so I remember growing up saying I will never ever taste alcohol because of what I saw it do to mom, But it just took being exposed to it and its effects to actually just get drawn and hooked to it. And so I remember my friend in about, he said, Celeste, in about 1 p.m. he had picked me up. We went to some rugby place there that everyone knows.
One thing I'm picking from what you're sharing is exposure and the environment can influence.
Yes, predisposition.
Yes. You're only as good as the people you hang around with, or as you say, predisposition. There are suggestions that come.
Yes.
And they're calling out and drawing you into making certain choices because of what you're seeing.
Yes.
And I believe you growing up, as you had mentioned, what you had shared, exposed to that lifestyle that your mom lived. I believe it was never a coincidence.
Right.
That the choices that you began making now as a teenager were sounding familiar because you see, they said the brain is interesting. Whatever it sees repeatedly, it begins to learn.
Yes.
It begins to register, is the right word, into the subconscious.
The subconscious,
mind. So sometimes people think they're doing things out of spontaneity.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're being spontaneous. But no, there's repetition.
The brain is being safe.
Yes, because what is not what is rewarded is repeated. And what is not punished, or what is not fault, becomes familiar. And because it becomes familiar, it feels tolerated.
Yes.
And because it's tolerated, it begins to live and breathe. And because it's fed naturally, it begins to grow.
Wow.
Yes. And when it grows, it matures.
Yeah.
And when it matures,
wow.
the results or the effects of what we see, and that also is constructed in behavior. From a perspective. In my first book, I wrote about it, chapter number 3, how character itself forms from the things that we think about,
right.
The ideas that form the thoughts, then repeatedly they become habits, then the habits going into repeated actions, and then become behavior, then behavior, character, then character, personality, ultimately. So it's a whole process and a journey. I thought I'd just put a bit of validation on that. But now coming back to you and the story, you are asking your friend, where is the next plot?
Yes, and indeed, 1 p.m. he was at the gate. Picked me up, he took me, and so that began my 15-year struggle with addiction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Could we say that marked the beginning of?
That was the beginning of the end.
Can you repeat that, the camera?
That was the beginning of the end.
Wow. At 15 years old?
Yes.
Wow. So, now that we are walking to the beginning of the end, how does that then begin to unfold for a 15-year-old girl who's just had exposure to the heathen, so to speak, perceived spaces, and then that then brings you towards a journey that becomes so painful and so hurting. Would you like to share that story?
Absolutely. So at this point, this was senior 4 vacation. Eventually I went to my A-level, and at this time now I had an appetite for alcohol. I just wanted to drink. I wanted to drink. Even school, I would find ways to leave school, not jumping, but getting like official pass outs just so I can come to town and hang out with friends, you know.
Wow.
And so, yeah. So by the time I go to S6 vacation, my entire S6 vacation, Monday to Sunday, I was drinking for all those 8 months.
Wow.
Monday to Sunday. I think there were very few Sundays where I stayed home, but Monday to Sunday, I was drinking. And so by the time I got to university, I first went to Mkozi. And by the time I got there, I was a seasoned drinker, Pastor Richard. Seasoned drinker. You would blindfold me and put me in a room with drinks and I'll point to you where the drink is. But at this time, I had a taste for the ciders, the one that I had been exposed to first. So I was drinking a lot of those. When I got to university now, I was much more exposed to the wider range of, you know, all these funny alcohols that exist. And, you know, being a university student, when you have a taste for something and you have no money, you will find a way to get it. Yes. So I was not drinking these sachets.
Are they drinkers or whatever have solidarity, as they call it?
Absolutely.
Solidarity.
Yes.
Somehow
Yes.
the rounds find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I started having a taste for stronger spirits. The stronger ones are the cheaper ones. You know, so I was drinking sachets. Now that's actually where now I started smoking. That's where I tried my first cigarette, and it was just, the high was incredible. You know, the cigarette of the first high, the cigarette I smoked when I was drunk, it was incredible. That's how I started smoking. And so I picked up a taste for tobacco as well. And then I was also exposed to marijuana.
The alcohol demons were inviting their cousins at the party.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
Yes.
Even scripture is clear. It tells us Christ, when he said so, verbatim, that when a person is delivered and the demons leave, yeah, they go into the desert and that place is too hot.
Yeah.
So because they feel the place is too hot, they will want to come back
home.
Yeah, where they were just out of before. And if they find that this house is not cleaned, then they go invite 7, not 1, 7 others. Now imagine the 7 are just out, the 7 go bring another 7. How many are those?
14.
49.
49, yes. Oh my days.
7 times 7.
Yes. Yeah.
Each of those 7 brings another 7.
Another 7.
They are 49.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing he talks about when he cast them out of the mad man, and they asked him to be pushed into the swine. Yeah, he asked them, and they were legion.
Yes.
And what is a legion? Thousands. Thousands.
Yeah.
Wow. So carry on.
So, you know, I started smoking, and really that's where now everything just started spiraling down. First semester was okay. Second semester now, I had become more comfortable in seeing the systems and the ways. You know, the funny thing about bondage is it will create a demonic management system for you. Yeah. You start to manage your bondage. Yeah. You know? You start to find creative ways to manage your bondage. You start managing your drinking, managing your smoking, you're managing your gambling, you're managing your pornography, you're managing, you know.
That's what you think you are if they start. Yeah, because when the devil is going to throw you down, he doesn't come with an outward punch.
That's true.
First thing he will come and touch the top.
Yes.
And you won't feel, and you will touch it, then you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he comes and touches the second toe, you're okay with that.
Yeah.
As he's blowing on it.
Right.
Before you know it, the whole foot is gone.
Yeah.
Before you know it, the whole leg, and before you know it, the whole body. So it's a process.
Yes.
And a journey.
I always say that the enemy is a very dishonest salesman. He tells you and sells you the benefits of bondage, but doesn't tell you the long-term cost or the long-term cost of disobeying God. Yeah. You know, so
repeat that. That's powerful. The enemy is?
Yes, the enemy is a very dishonest salesman. He will sell you the benefits of bondage or sin, but will not tell you the long-term effect of disobeying God. Yeah.
He will not tell you the wages of sin is
Yes,
death, as
yes.
the Bible tells us.
Absolutely.
All he will tell you is the moment.
Yeah.
Live in the moment.
In the moment. That's where they get you,
in the moment.
People who are living for today.
Yes, and remember the moments are what sequentially
right.
over time become a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle becomes a lifetime.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So I also started smoking marijuana at this point, and it became, the truth is that even at some point I got a realization, and I said something has to go, because there was a point where I can't even use the term high. I don't think I was even in this realm anymore. Like, I would drink, and then I would smoke cigarettes, and then I would smoke weed, and I would just, I can't explain what that was. There's if you know about what they call the paranoia that comes with smoking weed, there's a time it became so intense. I literally felt like I was going to die. And that was the last time I smoked weed. I sat down and I said, Rebecca, something has to go. The alcohol, the cigarettes, or the weed. But the alcohol had become so precious to me. I said the marijuana can go. I didn't even like it so much. The high was, I thought at the time the high was good, but it was too intense for me. I'll be very honest. The people who say the marijuana high is good, for me it was too, I felt like I was going to die. I said, you know what, let me stay with the cigarettes and the alcohol. And so I never smoked marijuana. Actually, even when I was in my DJing, my niche was, I was a reggae dancehall DJ. And so when I was hanging out with Rastas, they would get so perturbed and they're like, what kind of reggae and dancehall DJ are you that didn't smoke weed? They didn't know my story, where I came from, you understand? So I stuck to the marijuana and the tobacco. And so life went on. So when it came to second sem, I chewed my tuition.
What?
Yeah, I chewed my tuition. And there's a curse on tuition money.
Can you can you first repeat?
Whoever is listening, if you're listening,
you say the word chew, people may not understand what
tuition.
Tuition.
I chewed my tuition. Yes.
You abused it. You spent
I
it.
ate it. I literally ate it. It wasn't spending. When you say spend, you can say most money
on something valuable. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I literally ate it. I ate it and I drank it.
So let's backtrack.
Yes.
So I thought your dad now, I believe you're still living home.
Yes.
And so your dad is still your caretaker?
Yes.
Your father?
But he was living in Nairobi.
Oh, Nairobi.
Yes.
So I thought he would pay the what is it called? The invoice?
No, he would send the money.
The university invoice comes?
He would send the money to me.
To you,
yes.
Then you go pay?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, so I would have the money.
Was he aware
he found
that you now drink and you're into those spaces?
No.
So in his mind was the Rebecca, the Becky, my dear girl, my dear cricket partner, the BBC
yes.
representative.
Yeah, so that was, who he had in his mind. He didn't know at this point about my drinking and whatever. So, yes.
How much was that tuition?
It was a lot, Pastor Richard. It was a lot at the time.
That time, Zali said.
So at that time, it was about $1.3.
In dollars, how much is that? $500?
That's about
$550, $600.
About.
That's 20, which year?
2010.
2010.
2009, 2010.
That was quite a lot of money.
It was.
Even now, it's a lot of money.
No, it's a lot of money. No, it was a lot of, because it was one of the elite private institutions in the country at the time. So the tuition was very high.
Because the universities are very, very reputable.
Exactly. So I chewed the tuition. I said, somewhere along the way, I'll find a way to.
You're still saying scarcity. Yes, I agree with you. School fees, tuition, even if you take a cent.
Let me tell you, tuition money, let me speak to a young person out there. Tuition money has, there's something on tuition money that speaks. And this is the blood and the sweat of your parents. So there's
not only that, but also the voice of purpose.
Yes.
Because they are sending you to better your life.
Yes.
Yeah, and be a better person. So anything that comes into the environment of purpose and is negative will fight the purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tuition money is just a very different ball game. Even if you remove 500 shillings from it, you will look for that 500.
I'm an insurer, so I always tell people tuition money and insurance premium money, same thing.
Yeah.
Those two currencies or investments are tasked. I have seen that. Yeah. Anyone who ever touches either
no, but
and abuses it,
for tuition money,
you'll
that's
never
what
find that money.
For tuition money, that's what I can speak and tell you. You're looking for trouble. Don't do it.
Never.
Don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I took the money. And so I just kept drinking. Now at this point, the drinking had now become, I had found a management system for my lifestyle. I wasn't going to class. I wasn't doing coursework and all of this because I was drinking till morning, hangover, So it
and now at university, you're an adult, you're treated as such. Were you living in a hostel at the time?
Yeah, I was in a hostel. Yeah.
So you're free to go for lectures?
Yes.
Or not, no one will look for you or say if you miss.
And I mean, this is a place that is in what, Buama? People are not going to come and start telling you why you understand.
Yeah,
so, So, long story short, the term passed and I didn't qualify to do exams. One, because of the tuition, two, because coursework was 000 missing. So in this moment, I sobered up and I said, you know what am I going to tell Dad? Wow. So I had to cook up a lie. And I called my father and I told him, you know what? I don't like the course that I'm doing in this university. I want to switch. He said, okay.
What course were you doing at the time?
I was doing ethics and development studies, EDS. Okay. Yes. And so he sent, I think he sent my brother. Yeah, my brother picked me up, tied up my things, came back home. So we discussed options of another university. The thing about my dad is he never used to ask for those, slips or whatever. He was literally never in the country. So when we got home, we decided, we're speaking on phone, we decided what university there. So I said, we can try Uganda Christian University. For some reason, I was always biased against K.Makyeli and its cousins. So I said, let's do Uganda Christian.
Cousins? Which cousins?
What?
I didn't know.
As long as it's not K.Makyeli at the beginning.
Why? But K.Makyeli is a big brand in Uganda. It has always been the biggest university.
I was just biased.
Just biased, okay.
Yeah, so I told my dad, let's try UCU. So I went, I applied, and I got in on merit business. What was I doing? BBA, Bachelor's of Business Administration. Yes. So I used to call it Bachelor's of Being Around. So there you go.
Can you repeat that?
Bachelor's of Being Around. So even it was the most common course.
Yeah, the intent even before you enter class, you just there.
Yeah, limited.
No, it's a reputable course. Business is the spine of the business courses.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anyway,
you don't go.
We shall go.
We shall go.
Let's just go with it. Anyway, so I got in, but the culture shock was insane because it was much more, because it's a Catholic university. But there was a level of freedom in that university. Okay. You would, at break time, you would sit outside. There was a restaurant specifically for teachers, so it was called Staff Pub. Not even staff pub. That name alone should just tell you enough. So there was a place outside where you could sit. I know people who are smoking with teachers at break time. So you would be you just sit and you'd smoke, you'd drink, have a drink before you go back to class. You understand? You would, it was so illiberal. You could drink, you could.
You had
smoke,
your liberties.
Thank you.
Freedoms.
Yeah. So when I came to UCU, it was from the dress code to the hair, to everything. Then also they had curfews on the school hostels. So it
was used to use, I think, Church of Uganda founded. That's the Anglican church.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're a bit more strict.
So there was so much. I remember sometime I was outside the school gate. I wasn't even inside the school. I was outside the school gate. I remember I reached into my bag. It was like 3 p.m. I reached into my bag and I pulled out a cigarette. I started smoking. The entire road, the university inside, the shops, the road, the borders even stopped. Even cars, people stopped. So I lit the cigarette and I'm smoking it and I look around and everyone had looked. It was like I killed the Pope. Everyone was staring like this. I said, sit it down. I crashed it and I got aboard and I told him, Voga, speed, take me to hostel. Do you understand? So it took a while for me to adjust. Plus also I struggled with being in hostel and not being able to stay out later. So because now I was in first year and the people that I knew were in second year. So I was always hanging out in second year. So I would go to their hostels and drink and party. Then by 10 p.m., 10 p.m. was the curfew hostel, I would have to run back. But then eventually I started to see how I can find ways of staying longer to drink. So my friends would be like, what are you talking about? We have a free bed here. You will sleep over. Da, da, da. So now all caution went to the wind. Now I was drinking until morning. Next thing you know, you're waking up, it's 2 p.m. You've missed class, you've missed tests, you've missed this and this. So that was first semester. But first semester I passed. It was okay. Now second sem, I said, I'm not going back to a university hostel. So I found a hostel outside.
Hostel.
They're the university on campus. Yeah. So now I found a way to get an off-campus hostel. That's where now everything, in translation, that's where everything got
things fell apart.
Yeah.
Properly.
This was now where I started being sexually promiscuous. My drinking, I was drinking a lot, but if anything, my drinking, I think, tripled at this time. I started smoking marijuana again. But now, of course, because I just didn't like it, I used to do it socially when I was around people who were doing it. Cigarettes were a must. Shisha had now entered the plan. Like basically whatever was available, it was going down, you understand? And so I remember I failed, like I totally flunked. And I said, what am I going to tell
And you've always
dads?
been a bright person.
Yes.
Budonian.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. And so at this point, now that guilt hit me and I said, what am I going to tell dad? And so I remember from that time, from first year, second year, dad would send money for fees, but I would only pay for hostel. I wouldn't pay tuition. And I was in UC for 3 years. I wasn't studying. For me, my job was to drink at night and party. During the day, I would sleep. But now, this was foolishness because in life, the equalizer is time.
Yeah.
Eventually, it was going to catch up with me.
But everyone has the same equalizer.
But you see, I was running away from this reality.
Yeah.
I became sexually promiscuous. This was when I had my first abortion.
You're living in denial.
This was when I had my first abortion, and it was quite the experience, which I'm hoping that people can read in the book. But it literally was quite the experience. And after that first abortion, this was when I was in second year. When I had my first abortion, it kind of shook me to become kind of like a hard, I don't know how I can say it, but I related with the opposite sex very different. You understand? And so, life went on. Drinking, of course, usually the problem is not alcohol and substances. It's what they come with. It's a lifestyle they come with, sexual promiscuity. Every single thing that you can think about.
But hold it there. Me, I believe that drinking in itself has an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Behind it is a lot of dark forces that are pushing it.
Absolutely. I got those answers in 2020. And I'll be very honest, there is no, I don't want to rush the story, but there's no rehab in the world that would have saved me.
Wow.
Yeah. That one I can tell you for free. There's no rehab they're going to take me to that was going to help me. Yeah.
Let's go back to the story.
Yes. So, life goes on, life goes on.
So your heart turns cold?
Yeah, my heart turns cold. All I was doing was just drinking. Because I think I was also trying to run away from so many things. At this point, I really had blocked out mom's death in my life. Yes.
Did you grieve her?
That's the thing. I didn't.
That's dangerous. You didn't.
Because you see, even
postpone the grief.
It's not even postponing grieving. Yeah. I wasn't given the opportunity to even sit, reflect, and sit with the emotions I felt after she had died. Because as soon as we buried her, I stayed home for one extra day back to school. Do you understand? Life went on as a student and as a teenager.
Grieving is a process.
Exactly.
You need to go through those 5 stages.
So eventually, I literally moved on with life.
So you didn't go through the 5 stages
of grieving? No. I think I stuck at the point of not even anger. I think I stuck at the point of denial.
So there was no acceptance.
There was no acceptance. There was no sitting with how was I processing the fact
that's
that
rather
mom was
dangerous
not there.
Because the way God has created man and created us, you have to go through that phase.
But I eventually
your heart heals.
Eventually, those are the things that God had to deal with me
later.
Later. But anyway, back to this confusion. So yes.
So the 3 years lapse.
Yes. So
then what happened?
At some point, so in 2012, my father remarried. And he married a very brilliant woman. She's a psychologist. And so I think she was studying my behavior and telling my father,
there's something missing.
This person you have in this house, are they really working on a dissertation? This one who leaves the house at 4 p.m., comes back at 7 in the morning, sleeps from Monday to Sunday, leaving, you understand, during holidays. Like, I just didn't seem like, you understand? So one day I'm there dressing up around 4 p.m., ready to do my routine, go meet my friends, we pre-game, drink, then we hit a bar till morning. As I was leaving the gate, my dad's car comes in. So they park the car and they say, Rebecca, I want to talk to you. I said, okay. So I sit with them in the sitting room and they tell me. They actually didn't say anything. They just reached into the pocket, pulled out a sheet of paper. It was my UCU from first year. So they had gone to the office to get my results. It was a long sheet. You know, it's like a long sheet like this. First year.
The transcript.
The transcript. Yeah. There was only data for first year. The rest were blank. So I'm looking at it. They're looking at me. They're looking at me. I'm looking at it. So they're like,
busted.
What do you have to say for it? No.
Busted.
What do you say? Pastor Richard,
you're busted.
Do you know there was nothing to say? They looked at me. I looked at them. There was nothing to say. So after the awkward tension, it was a very awkward, it was like 5 minutes of just awkward silence.
What was your body language?
What was there to do? You don't move. I was like this, looking at the
You're frozen.
Looking
at the transcript. So I said something.
What? First of all, I was sober. There was nothing I could do in that time. If I was drunk, I would have done some cartel. I was sober. You understand? So after that awkward 5 minutes, my dad just said, go to your room and think about it. We'll talk later. I went to my room.
Did you have energy in your knees to even stand?
Let me tell you, I went to my room. I stood up from the sitting room. You see how we are sitting here? The chair is waving like this. I stood up from here. I went to my room. I picked some book. I don't know what I picked. I got a bag, put some clothes there. Then I went to my friend's house.
So you disappeared?
I ran away. What was I going to do, Pastor Richard? I didn't know what to do in that moment. I went to my friend's house.
Just tell Daddy, I'm sorry. And
in that moment, those words were not there. You understand? So I went to my friend's house.
Is your dad? He would forgive you. He loves you.
In that moment, you don't even think about those things. Because really. So yeah, I went to my friend's house. And I was at a place for like a week. We were just drinking. Really. Night day. Because really, as a friend.
So in that moment, has your dad now followed up to know where you are?
No.
Or you...
To follow up
he's not looking for you?
He's not even looking for me. Because now where does he even start? So I went to my friend's house. She used to stay in Mienga on the hill. So I went to her place. And you know, I told her what was happening. And she was very, you know, as a fellow drinker, she was like, nah, there's nothing I can do for you, but
So what she did was just to motivate you with
to motivate me and to give me company.
A place to crash.
To sit with me in this time.
So where were you staying then?
I was staying at her place.
So you're crashing with her,
yes.
as we
So we'd
call
go
it.
party till morning, then sleep, then wake up, party, like that. But the next, on the 7th day, on Saturday, like I think even her in Uganda, they tell you, she actually said it in Uganda, she said, Rebecca, genda ke wamwe bakulabiko.
There's accountability. You can't
keep
running. You people need to know where you are.
So eventually I came home and we had the discussion and my dad was like, I don't know what I'm going to do for you. So anyway, in their wisdom, they bundled me up and took me to Nairobi in a convent.
Did I hear right?
They took me to a convent.
A convent?
In Kenya, yes. It was located in Magathi.
Catholic convent?
Yes.
Okay.
A convent.
So were you going to now become a nun?
Now, basically what this convent is it doubles as a school for underprivileged girls and women. So it teaches those things like house management, food and beverage, catering. So what the convent is, it's basically like a compound. It has a main house, a mansion, huge. So in that mansion, there are 6 Catholic brothers who stay there. We never knew what they looked like. No one ever saw their faces, the women who stayed there. Then on the same property, it's like as if a school, you understand? But it's a convent. So on the property, there is a huge kitchen, which prepares meals for the Catholic brothers, but doubles as a teaching center.
Makes sense.
You understand?
Yeah.
So they took me there. Now, if there's what they call culture shock, Pastor Richard, I didn't know what this was that I had entered. You understand? Now, it hadn't even registered to me. I wasn't aware that nuns are celibate people who have dedicated themselves to the Lord, like in that kind of way. You understand?
I thought it was obvious.
I didn't know. So we were I'm being very serious, Pastor.
But you were in a Catholic university.
Listen,
I thought that you got that exposure.
I didn't know that they were celibate for life. I understood that they were celibate, but not for life. Do you understand? I thought that maybe at some point you can make up a decision and say, okay, that's what I thought. I knew that they were celibate, but not like that. So, I just thought that this is a school.
So what was the culture shock for you?
I'm coming. The culture shock was, one, the fact that I was not allowed to interact with the outside world. It was just not being exposed to alcohol, entertainment.
So it was sort of like a rehab, indirectly.
It was a process. You understand? So it just, I just wasn't dealing with this situation well. It literally was like, waking up in the morning, go for mass, do housework, then you enter the kitchen. Those guys would work. They would cook food. First of all, these Italian fathers.
So who was eating the food? The brothers.
The brothers. Yes, the brothers. The priests. So the nuns would prepare the food, wash their robes and things, but with the underprivileged girls and the women. So that was like a learning. So we were in the kitchen, we would cook for these guys. These guys were eating like 4-course meals 3 times a day, 4 times a day, So that's what we were doing in the kitchen, left, right, and center. So eventually, I want to compress this experience. I find a way to sneak cigarettes into the convent.
How long were you in that place?
I was there for like 6 months.
6 months. So in how many days did you get creative?
It was in the 6th month. Because even after
in the 6th month, that's when you got creative.
When the cigarettes were discovered, I was expelled from the convent.
But I thought since you cut out from, not cut out per se, but you in a controlled environment, I would believe no alcohol, no access to any of those substances, no access to music, CDC. So you're like on like school, like in a more controlled environment.
Yes.
So how does that dawn for you? How do you get creative in that space?
You see, that now was withdrawal. That was withdrawal. I needed, like my mind got to a point where it needed dopamine. My mind got to a point where it was...
I'd forgotten you mentioned that you had already become addicted.
Yes. This was now, the year now is, let me give you a time frame. The year now is 2013. For a time frame. I started drinking in 2005. This is now 8 years to my journey. So by now I'm like my body literally, I'm dependent on not just alcohol, but nicotine as well. So I couldn't get the alcohol in, but I found a way to sneak the cigarettes in. So I think one day some nun was cleaning and whatever. So when they were cleaning my room, I think she came across the cigarettes. So we're in mass, we just had someone shouting and screaming. She was so traumatized, So they called me to that lady's name. What's the name of the title?
Superior.
That one.
The highest ranking.
I don't know, I keep forgetting the title. They took me to Mass Superior. They eventually decide for me to go back to Kampala. They were so traumatized. So
they're now expelling you from the convent.
Yes, but they didn't expel me. This is how they phrased it. They said, you're such a brilliant young lady and your creativity can be used in better ways. in other places.
Okay.
They were so traumatized.
They were being polite.
They were being polite.
As
yes.
saying, see you.
So yeah.
In the future, but don't come back.
So I moved back to Kampala. And of course, Dad was so disappointed. He said, I really tried everything I can for you. And that's when, he, to be honest, literally said, hands up. He said, if you're going to stay in this house, I'm not enabling you. I'm not giving you any financial support. You look after yourself. So.
But this time you're an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah. And so, that's now when, of course, you go meet your friends again, you start drinking here, left, right, and center. So you start finding ways to make things work. So I landed my first job. I got a job at a social media agency. During those days, there was no way, at the time there was no academic qualifications for social media marketing. So people would just look at your social media profile, see your following, how you engage. So I used to like writing stories on Facebook. So that's what they engaged on. And so, I said, you make a very good copywriter. So I got my first job. And my first job, I remember my salary was 1.3 M.
Same amount of your fees.
Can you imagine? Like, it's life. It's life.
You remember the 1.3?
Yes. So,
and what it could do for you?
It was so bad because it was so bad because the way that money would come is how it would go. The day that money would land in my account in salary is how I would go to the bank, blow it. 1 day, 2 days, it's out. Before the month has ended, I look for a loan shark. I put there the company phone they've given me so that he can give me money for transport to work, because remember, Dad is not giving me money. So that money, also you drink it. You're not wondering, I need more money.
How do you survive? Because if you're earning salary, it comes, they pay you in areas, because you work for the 30 days and they pay you at the end of the month.
Yes.
So if you spend the whole salary, where do you get transport, accommodation, in the rest of the days?
This is what I'm telling you. The money would get done before the end of the month. Then I would look for a loan shark.
In 2 days, you say 2 days?
Yes. And
so the loan shark gives you a loan?
I would put there the company phone. Yes.
Also collateral was the company.
Yes. So he would give you money, let's say like 300.
Oh, is that dangerous?
It was. But now you see, this is what I'm talking about, Pastor Richard. These are the consequences. When a person gets to a point of dependence and addiction, they're not thinking about anything but how to sustain. There's no logic. You're not even thinking about the consequence of building up all this debt. So literally, by the time the next salary is coming, it's already being used
paying
for
the debts.
You understand? And so it became a vicious cycle in my life. I was always reaching out to my friends' Facebook.
So where were you staying at that time?
As a friends. I was at home.
So Dad then told you, fine, I'll not finance you, but figure out your life. But at least have a roof.
Yes.
Okay. So you have access to food.
Everything.
Every necessities at home.
But of course now there was so much tension, you understand? So I would, after work, I would go drink and party and then return at like midnight so that I don't find Dad awake. You understand? So that I don't have to.
So your dad has so much tension.
Yes, he had come back and retired. Now at this point he's retired. So there was that tension at home, So eventually the drinking started affecting my work. They started complaining about my productivity. I was coming in late.
So what work were you doing for the agency?
Copywriting. I was a senior copywriter. Okay. Yes. So they were handling some very major brands, which I won't mention. So that's basically what I was doing. Content writing.
Yeah, and copywriting is solid.
Yes, it is.
It is solid because once you have your drift, your brand is up there. Yeah. You sort after, you hold accounts.
And especially with creatives. It's so funny, the advertising. People always wonder why the advertising industry is plagued with addicts.
Why?
Because they have to use the mind.
So they push the mind to get juice.
Yes.
What they call creative juices.
Absolutely. So it's crazy. So if you're someone who is an addict and you're a creative at the same time, those two don't mix very well.
Problems.
Yeah. So eventually there was so much tension at home. I was drinking, partying, eventually started reflecting at work, So now at this point, when there became tension at work, I started to see it as an attack on my life.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because when you're addicted, you're imprisoned by the addiction.
I started to see it as an attack on my life. I started wondering, why does everyone have a problem with my drinking, yet everybody else does it? I was wondering, what exactly is the issue? So I started to stay back from, family, friends. I think my only true friend was like my brother, who I used to follow.
I think it's something interesting about addiction. On Ask the Author, there's a guest who also beat it. Thank God delivered him as well. And he's now a pastor and became born again, got healing, and is now changing lives. He mentioned at one time something quite interesting, that the people who are addicted see the rest of the world as them. They call them them. As those guys. They're stupid. They think the guys with whom they are sharing the substances are the elite.
Yes,
that's the right word.
It's true.
Elite.
It's true.
Everyone else is mediocre. The regular.
It's true, because you feel like people don't understand you.
Yes, you don't belong.
Right.
Yes, you're belonging here with the guys you're sharing the substances with, but the guys on the side. And quite so unfortunate, because these addictions affect many people in schools, universities, homes and families.
What's happening in high schools now is heartbreaking. High schools right now.
Wow.
We do outreaches in high schools.
Wow.
There are 14-year-olds who have substance use disorder. I'm not talking about they drink once in a while. They have been diagnosed now officially that they have a substance use disorder. Parents
and addiction is a mental health disorder.
Yes.
And surprisingly,
disease,
there's an article I saw in the New Vision sometime back that said 14 million Ugandans are suffering with mental health issues. Different pedigree kinds. And that's big. With 45 million.
And that number was in 2022.
2022.
Yes.
We're 45 million. That's about 40.
That's a third of the population.
A third, actually. About 33. Man, that's big.
No, it is. It is.
That's a lot.
And one thing is that...
What are we doing as the church?
Thank you.
What are we doing as the church?
Thank you. And what I think is that I really think that people need to open their eyes to understand what mental health issues look like. A lot of people think that addiction has a template. So they'll wait for someone to be homeless on the streets in rags like this to give the person help. And
Repeat that's deep. Huh?
Yes.
People think addiction is a template.
People think addiction has a template. Not even just addiction, but mental health disorders. People think that mental illness is a person who has schizophrenia or dementia. You understand? They think it's a template, that it's supposed to look a certain way before, or bipolar. They think it's supposed to look a certain way before they can step in and say, let's intervene. But each and every day that DSM is growing bigger, that's the diagnostics manual, it's growing bigger and bigger, because they're discovering more and more different ways that mental illnesses are unfolding in people, But I agree, as the church, we need more faith-based recovery systems for mental health disorders. And I'm not just talking about addiction, I'm talking about depression. There's something that is plaguing people now. And when you talk about that thing of the 7 demons and whatever, I have a lot of friends who their parents grabbed them early when in university, when we were drinking, grabbed them early and took them to rehab. When they came out of rehab, they became worse. By worse, I mean they even left, not even relapse. Relapse is just even, they now started slicing themselves. So you sit back and you wonder, if you really look and see that this is really demonically inspired, because where is slicing yourself and drinking alcohol connected? You understand? And it's becoming actually more and more common in schools now. A lot of young girls are slicing themselves. A lot of youth, when you see them wearing these long sleeves, it's a big problem. And so, anyway, back to the story. We'll discuss more about that later, because that's actually something very, very crucial, that the church cannot just sit back.
And by the church, it's not any denomination.
Yes. Body of Christ.
The body of Christ.
That's it.
In its fullness as it is.
Anyway, so at work,
that job, you're beginning to say things become tough. You've staked the phone.
Boss is now
so have
calling
you paid the
in.
debts?
Actually, I pay the debts with the salary as it comes. So the boss comes in.
You're living in you've eaten your 2 years salary today.
So
ahead. Your 2 years future salary.
Yes. So
through loans.
So the bosses start calling me in and saying, there's so many complaints. People are saying you're walking into work smelling like cigarettes, smelling like alcohol, because there were days I would go to the bar, drink until 6 in the morning, and then go to work.
Wow.
Go to work in the same clothes that I was in.
Wow.
So, and for me, I saw nothing wrong with that. Do you understand? So eventually things started crumbling. And I had this issue of sabotage where I would remove myself from situations before I'm removed. So I fired myself.
Self-sabotage.
Yes.
In the coaching space.
So I removed myself from that job. I lied to them. I actually one day I had a mental breakdown at my desk. So I cried, and so the HR came running and said, "Rebecca, what's wrong?" I literally had a mental breakdown, and I think I had been overwhelmed, but I didn't know how to cope with stress and with inconvenience. So I had a breakdown, and she told me, "Rebecca, what's wrong?" So in that moment, I lied to her. I told her my dad is not well. Yes, he has been taken to Arusha for medical. I need some time off. So she said, "Oh, it's okay. Please go. Just deal with what you need to deal with." So I remember I left work. What time was it? It was like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. I walked down those stairs. I called a friend of mine. A very good friend of mine. He was a drinker. We went to some bar and we sat there until the next day, 10 a.m. just drinking. But anyway, as this all unfolds, with all this time I'm at home. So my dad keeps asking me, "Why aren't you going to work? Why aren't you going to work?" Then I said, lying to him and telling him I have leave and this and that. And he said, "But you whose leave doesn't end, you understand?" So eventually, I think he got concerned. So he looked for the phone number of my workplace and he called my boss.
Carry on with the story. Don't mind me.
He called my boss.
So all that you're saying is in here?
Yes.
Wow.
He called my boss, and then my boss told him, "But she told us that you've been taken for surgery in Arusha. She has been off work. She's been taking care of you." So I remember that day I had come from drinking with my friends and I came home, and my dad he confronted me. And he said, "You want me dead and all this and all of that? Why are you telling people that I'm sick? Da 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 da." It was very, very heartbreaking. Then another incident happened at home where you'll have to read about it, because I had to jump over the fence at 2 a.m. And no, the borderman who I had come with had to jump over the fence to open the gate for me. I was from the bar. He had to jump over because they had locked me out. So also our askari who we grew up with was also a special drinker. Bro, it's only by the how come just know the man. He had worked for our family since before I was born. But that guy used to drink. I'm telling you, our home was guarded by God. That guy would just walk into the house at 1 a.m. Guy is staggering like this. And he has come to guard. It was just insane. So this day, I tell the borderman to jump over. This man comes out and he almost shoots the borderman with an arrow. Because he was drunk and he couldn't see. He thought it was a thief. I'm shouting on this other side of the gate, saying, "Samson, don't shoot him, don't shoot him." The borderman is shouting in Luganda. I'm shouting in English. The askari is there shouting, "Wewe ni nani?" He's shouting in Swahili and Luo. It's 2 a.m. in Muyenga. I told Samson, after everything, we calmed down and all of that. I told the borderman, "Please go, this will never happen again." I spoke to the askari and I told him, "Please, just do me one favor. Do not tell Dad about this altercation." I went to sleep. 6 a.m. My door burst open. It was my father.
First, repeat that. So the askari did what? Before you even unfold your father, what did the askari do?
I was drinking in the bar. I ran out of money. So I called my border man.
Yes.
He said, "Timo, come and pick me up. I'll pay you in the week." Timo said, "Come and pick me up at 2 a.m. So I reached home. When I reached home, the padlock was inside. In an African home, that means
of course.
you're
local. Go wherever you are coming from.
So I said, "You're joking. Where am I going to go?" I had no money. So I told the border man, told him, "Timo, jump
over the
and
fence.
Then open for me." Now I didn't know Samson the askari was home. I thought he was still in
his joints,
doing his things. So he was still staggering on the way home. So he jumps over. As he's opening like this, I just hear Samson's voice. Samson is shouting, "Wewe ni nani?" He only speaks Swahili and Acholi. And some little English, but in that moment, in his drunkenness, a thief has jumped.
Yes.
And he has bow and arrow. He was not a gunman.
So the girl was going to kill.
He was going to shoot and kill him.
I see.
If I had not shouted loud enough, because remember, this guy is drunk. He can't see me. He's only seeing
the stranger.
The man knelt down. I was looking in a small hole in the gate. I'm shouting, "Samson, don't kill the man. Samson, don't kill the man." Meanwhile, the borderman is shouting in Uganda, "Tozita, please." Samson is shouting, "Well, Nani, I want to kill you." Where? You understand? So somewhere, somehow, in all of that kavuyo, he picks up my voice and says, "Rebecca, what's wrong with you? Didn't I almost shot this man?" So Samson opens
You get
opens.
in.
I get
So
in.
what
The
happens to the border
borderman.
guy?
The borderman. I told the borderman,
He goes,
Chimo, I'm sorry, I'll pay you. He said, he said, never call me again. What would you do in that
was your
situation?
dad at home that day?
Yes, he was sleeping.
But do you think he was hearing?
He was
Come
not
on.
hearing. Now, in the morning, before I left, I told Samson was a smoker and a drinker.
Yes.
So I bribed him. There was a type of, first of all, this man was a drunker. He was just in his boxers, which means he had just entered the house and he had passed out.
So you cut a deal?
I cut a deal with him. There was some mint cigarettes that had come out at that time. Menthol. So I gave him and I told him, Samson, just do me one favor.
Don't breathe a word.
Don't tell Dad about the situation. He said, okay, do you have some good things for me? I gave him my entire pack of menthols. Those things were expensive. I gave him the entire pack. I went into the house to sleep. 6 a.m. My door opened. It was my dad.
So how did he know?
Samson went to the window in his heights, in his drug.
In the night,
and told
him. Yeah, who is the boss?
Thank you.
Or the
That's
dad?
the thing. So this entire situation.
He lose his job.
So he came home. He came. So he burst open my door. Said a lot of things in that moment. A lot of things. You're your mother's daughter.
At that time,
one day they're going to call me to pick your body from a mob. I was still recuperating. You understand? I was still.
The senses were there. The drift was clear. You could.
Of course, now I'm shocked because my father was not this kind of person to raise his voice. You understand? Okay. So that was the point. He was saying, you're your mother's daughter. Do you know what killed your mother? One day they're going to call me to pick your body from a morgue. He said a lot of things. Then he said, by the time I come back today, I don't find you in this house. Because there's a door and he lives. So me, I'm there, still with alcohol in my head. I'm like, maybe I didn't process what he said properly. I went back to sleep. Lunchtime, the housemaid comes. She knocks at my door. She's like, hello. Dad is asking whether you're still around. I said, so this man is actually kicking me out of his house. So that's when it dawned on me. I packed up, got my few clothes that I could, and all of this.
Wow.
And yeah.
As you're packing, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of part 1. We'll come back for part 2. Hey, you've packed your clothes and you're leaving home. Yay. We'll be right back.